as a big hit to give you guys the lead this year. Just what does it say about him as just a freshman coming up with those big clutch hits for you guys?
I mean, that cat's got a slow heartbeat. I know I've said it a bunch, but I mean, he's been injured for 6 weeks. You know, I try to give him a day here and there, a blow, and just to keep coming. I mean, it's just abnormal. I told the guys it's not normal for a team to be like this. It's not normal for their character and their DNA to be that tough, and what Josh is doing is not normal. And I just there's not enough, I think superlatives is the correct word there. There's not enough adjective to describe, you know, how incredible of a player he is. It's his DNA. He's just tough. He doesn't get sped up. He just competes. He's as good as I've ever seen as a freshman, of being able to let go of whatever's happened in the past and just be on that pitch, on offense or on defense or anything. He is so good at staying in that moment on that pitch and moving on. I'm just, like I say all the time, I'm glad he's a Hoosier, because man, he's a heck of a player, just incredible.
Matthew Ellis, with they put in a lefty specifically to go up against him, which has been a concern for Ellis in the past. So what did you tell him? What did he do to gain success in that at bat? Well,
you know, actually I gave him the player of the game just for that moment, because they came to that with the lefty, and he had walked twice, but he came with a lefty there. And you know, I was talking to him, and honestly, you know, Philip Glasser is the one that made a really good comment to him. He said, "Hey, remember, the one that you're going to hit, the slider you're going to hit, is going to start at your front hip, and make sure it starts at your front hip." And that's what he did there. You got a pitch that starts up and in, and that's a tough transition for lefties, obviously, and it's something that he hasn't been the best at, but you just have to keep going and keep working. But for him, he works so hard. He's in there on the spin ball. He's in there on crossfire, close side, trying to work on it, trying to improve on it. But it really was just a determination to stay in the middle of the field versus that lefty. And Zach Rutherford did a great job of having that kid on the scouting report, knowing I think he was like 42, 45% sliders, especially with guys in scoring position. He was going to throw it there to Ellis, and he worked back in the count and got it, and he hits the ball as hard as anybody in the country. So it just, again, you talk about a slow heartbeat, talk about determination and toughness. To step into that moment, which is not your strength, and to find a way to compete your way through it. Just to, in essence, really honestly, just to compete so you get a pitch you can handle, and then when you get it, to be able to just put a good swing on it, not try to do too much. You know, it'd be really easy for that guy who has such great raw power to pull off that ball and try to launch it. And for him just to stay, you know, through the middle of the field on the line, it was a really mature, advanced at bat for him. It was great to see from him the growth and maturity in that moment. I was very proud of him.
I wanted to ask you about one of the most famous games in IU history, with the walk-off against Valparaiso in 2013 on the Chad Clark home run. I know you weren't here, but I kept thinking as you rallied in the 8th, there's shades of that game. There's shades of that game where a team that wasn't playing well came from nowhere all of a sudden to win the game, and then they used that to propel themselves to the regional and the College World Series. Obviously, the stakes here weren't quite as high, but can you talk about, you know, if you can use the comeback, and if you saw any comparisons to that game, and also if you can use the comeback to propel you the rest of the weekend?
Yeah, well, at the time I was a Horizon League guy. You know, I played and was coaching the Horizon League, and obviously I was a Hoosier at heart. So, you know, I was a little bit torn. I was much more thrilled to see the Hoosiers win that game. But being in the Horizon League, I felt bad for Valpo at the time. But you know, it's something that we've done all year, and it's in, I guess it keeps saying it's in their DNA, but it really is. If you look at the course of the season, how many times have we come back and come back and come back, and that's just a statement to them. It's not something, you know, I wish I could take credit for that. There's no drill for that. There's no speech you give a bunch of kids to fight like crazy all the way through. And you're right, it's a different situation in that moment, but to these kids in this moment, they're fighting for their lives. And so in essence, it is the same, right? It is the same when you're fighting for your life every day for the last month, and to continue to come through like that. I do understand the comparison there. And for them to continue to do that, it's just a statement on their character and their toughness. But they've been doing it all year. That's why I've been saying all along how much I enjoy and I appreciate this team, because they just refuse to quit and refuse to die. And when you do that, you never know what will happen. If you just use all 27 outs and don't cash in your chips after 4 or 5 innings, it's not going your way, then you have a chance to do something like that. And obviously, you know, what they did here at Indiana in the past was incredible, and it was built on toughness, and it was built on work ethic, and it was built on the ability to compete. And that's what we want to do as well. We want to have the same kind of program and the same heart and the same pride, you know, with Indiana across our chest, and that's what these boys are doing.
When you think about some of the ups and downs that the bullpen has gone through this year, just how big is it to have a night like tonight where you get 4 separate performances for 4 scoreless innings to keep you guys in the game?
It was huge, and that's why you put guys in those positions earlier in the year. You keep running them out there, and you keep running them out there, and you keep running them out there, and you keep coaching them. You know, what a testament to Coach Gallant and his continued work with those guys. All those guys at one point or another have struggled. To watch Reese Sharp knuckle down in moments like that are incredible growth from the beginning of the year to right now where he's at. And he and Coach Gallant and the rest of those pitchers and Denton Segerman, they've worked so hard to continue to work and improve, and to have the bullpen come in and close the door was incredible because they had guys on base. They had clutter, returned double play. You know, we made plays. How about Gavin Goforth on the heady play with the guy on second base, the fly ball, guy steps off and tags him. He doesn't make that play, single, all of a sudden it's a different ball game, right? And so those moments, all of them individually make up the entirety of the game. Yeah, you're right. It's huge for the bullpen to come through for us in the moment, and that's what they've done. You look at the last 3 or 4 weeks. And those guys have done that. They've grown up, they've developed, they've improved, and they've given us innings when we had to have them. And tonight was no different. And honestly, it's only gotten better as they've gone. So very proud of them.
Bobby Whalen is an everyday starter. He comes up there big in that moment, and he's turned into an everyday starter. What was sort of the progression that you saw in the offseason and your reaction to him coming up in the clutch?
Well, you know, Bobby had to make some swing adjustments, and he was the first one to say that. And you know, you talk about the drill work and the drill work that we do. You know, the drill work only works if the guy working it works, right? And he invests into it and he believes in it. Bobby's a tactician. He's a professional, and whether he has a good day or a bad day, he's in there working every day. He's asking questions. You know, he asked me we got back, what was it, Sunday night? He asked me to come in Monday morning, and I had nothing to do with today. It's a statement on him. You know, right away, hey, can we get back to work? Hey, I'm feeling this. And he comes up to me after the game, or during the middle of the game after the base hit, he said, hey, X, Y, and Z about his swing. I need to do this. I made that adjustment in the moment, and I felt better because of it. And when you're that invested and you're smart and you've worked that hard, you're able to adjust throughout the course of the game. And so, you know, yeah, Bobby was an everyday guy last year, but if your program is based on player development and your program's full of young men like Bobby who just are completely invested into growing and learning and improving, then they'll find a way. They'll find a way. And Bobby's a great example of it. Couldn't be more proud of a young man and his growth over the last year. And then he's the engine. In many ways, Bobby's the engine. He's one of the true leaders of the program. And so when in those moments you trust him to come up and have a good at bat, he's carried us in so many different ways, both emotionally and physically on the field. And that was another big moment for Bobby, and very proud of him.
Take 2 more.
Can you talk about Jack Perkins' night? He has 3 good innings, but then twice he as soon as he got in trouble, he lost the strike zone and couldn't get it back. It seemed like what did you think of his performance tonight and why that happened?
Well, I mean, there's been many a times where Jack single-handedly carried us, right? There's been many different moments where Jack executes big pitches and pitches around an air or pitches around, you know, us not making a play. Today just was our day to go there and be there for Jack, right? So he missed, tried to get a fastball in I think it was Sweeney hit the homer, tried to get a fastball in, left it down and away in his hot zone, and the guy hits one out of here. You know, we get 2 quick outs, and the guy squeaks a single in the 6th hole, and they get a couple of walks hit by pitch and whatnot, and they score the runs. But not every night Jack's going to be able to go 120 pitches and carry the team on his back. But that's a great thing about having a bunch of other dudes here that are able to do that. And that's a great thing to your question about the bullpen, able to step up. You know, Jack's a great pitcher and a great player and been a terrific leader for us. And so tonight wasn't his night. All right, tonight was, you know, Ryan Kraft and Reese Sharp and those guys' night, and it was, you know, that offensive run late, it was their night. So love Jack. He'll be back on it next week, back on the horse, ready to go, and doesn't shake my confidence in him one bit. He's a great player and a great Hoosier.
How's Philip coming along after his at-bats today?
I haven't talked to him afterwards, but he was a super confident kid, and so he was telling me, you know, how big the ball looked and how good he was feeling, and so it sounded like his normal self today. So we see how he feels tomorrow, if he's able to play defense or not. Evan Goforth has stepped in and played like a professional. So I'm hopeful he's able to do it, but if not, then we'll go trying to keep going with the DH role. But if you know Philip at all, nothing would surprise you. He'll find his way out there, I'd imagine.
Great. Thanks, Coach.
Thank you so much.
Thanks for staying. Have a good night.